I mean, not Google flu, swine flu. So the swine flu example is a real-time example where a sensing can go up to the extension of wisdom. So that is what we saw in Google flu, I mean swine flu example with respect to Google interaction. And then we saw what are the players who are all into it. And now we will see some places where the IoT plays a monumental role. Connected home. Maybe this would have not taken, or this trend would have not started in India, but almost most of the developed nations, this concept of connected home has become more common and it is very prevalent among the developed societies. Let us see what are the different devices which makes up this smart home or connected home. You can see smart lighting your homes the way you want. You can also, I think we discussed about this, the Philips Hue. It is a smart lighting concept. It can be used for resource sharing, resource monitoring, climate control, or lighting can also be varied based on your mood. Further, you can see smart locks, which can be used for locking, and it will also indicate you whether you have locked it or not. You need not to go back and check your lock again. It will glow some colors there. In case if it shows green, then it is a proof that you have locked it properly and you can move. If it is not locked properly, then it will display red there, so that you can understand that you have not locked or you have not locked properly, and you can do the locking again. So this, to some certain extent, it will glow, and beyond certain time limit, if you have not locked or if you have not corrected it, it will also again alert you through your mobile message through your mobile. And you all would have seen this smartwatches. Smartwatches can be used for opening the door and closing the door. And right now we are staying in a pandemic era. Even a very small example of relays can be used for opening the door without any contact, and so on. And you have smart doorbells where you'll have this video attached, so you can know who is calling you from outside, and you can also categorize them, whether you know them or whether are they your friends or neighbors or foes. Depending on that, you can open the door. Otherwise, you can interact with them and find out who are they, and then you can open the door. It adds up the security to your normal home. So these are all the some devices available in the arena of connected home. Energy plays a very vital role. If you see, IoT plays very critical role in energy sector also. And to name few, the energy sectors, particularly we are talking about solar energy, wind energy, and what else? Tidal. In all these places, IoT has a very greater role to play. There are some electric meters which are attached in the houses. Let's assume that our electric meters are equipped with our electricity measuring meter. In case if they are equipped with saying us the consumption in the terms of Indian rupees. Just imagine consumption in INR. Then what will happen? Every day evening, I can check my meter. This meter will not only reveal the amount of electricity what we have consumed, but it will also say what is the EB bill incurred to my usage. For example, if the meter reading shows 500, then what is the equivalent EB bill I am supposed to pay? For example, 2000. So by this, what will happen is, when you get the essence of how much are you going to pay for the usage, automatically we try to minimize the utilization. We try to minimize the usage of electricity unnecessarily. I'm not trying to say that you should switch off the lights and fan and sleep. No, what I'm trying to advocate is, once you come to know it in terms of money, then the impact will be high, so that you will start using the electricity in an optimized way. So these are all some measures what we can do by using IoT. So to do so, we should have some sensing devices or some parameter through which we should be able to observe how many amount of unit of electricity is being consumed per day or so. So this is with respect to electricity. If you look at wind energy and all, say you would have heard about NIWE, National Institute of Wind Energy. It is there in Chennai. There we proposed some projects where we said IoT can be used to monitor the health statistics of windmills. We can monitor its health. When I say health, I think probably you can understand. I'm talking about whether the parts of the windmill is working properly or not, or in case if they malfunction, we will be able to know immediately that which part has gone wrong, so that it becomes easier for the knife centers to replace them accordingly. And these are all, see, there are a lot of funding which flows in the area of this kind of alternate energy resources. Even in Indian condition, alternate energy resources are the one where they get huge funding, non-renewable energy. So wind, we can think of using IoT to increase the structural health monitoring of wind turbines, small wind turbine and big wind turbine. Tidal also, by placing suitable devices, we will be able to know how much amount of energy are we able to generate by using this tidal energy, I mean tidal resources. So this is also happening in National Institute of Back Ocean Water Propagation, which is again placed in Chennai. They do a lot of research where they find out backwater propagation, where they try to find out how much amount of electricity they can generate by using this tidal power. So these are all some usage of IoT in the energy sector. Next, infrastructure. If you talk about infrastructure, I would recommend you to go and see the smart city use case of Barcelona. Why Barcelona? We know New York is a smart city, London is a smart city, but these are all highly developed nations. So it's quite obvious that they will be able to embrace the technology for its betterment. But when we talk about Barcelona, as you all know, it's a capital of, sorry, not a capital, important city of Spain. Real Madrid is the capital, if I'm right. I'm not sure. So it belongs to Spain. Again, it is a developing nation, but Barcelona had a project of this smart city. What they have done is, by using IoT, they implemented a smart parking concept. So the first one was smart parking concept. By using smart parking concept, they were able to save $50 million per year. Just imagine, by merely implementing smart parking system, they were able to generate, or they were able to add revenue to the tune of $50 million per annum, that is per year. And by using, second one, this is parking system, this is parking. Second one is lighting, smart lighting concept. Under smart city, they had different verticals. One was parking, the second one was lighting. By implementing smart lighting, they were able to generate $37 million per year. Now you can imagine. So IoT is not only meant for technological advancements, but they also yield us revenue. They also save us energy. They also in turn help us to sustain our resources. So by saving our resources, we will be able to use them for a long time. So by implementing smart lighting concept, Barcelona Smart City project earned up to, or they were able to save up to $37 million per annum. And third comes, this is irrigation. Probably you can understand from the diagram. So I'm not talking about a farming or agricultural irrigation. I'm talking about irrigation available to the public park in Barcelona city alone. Public parks. When they tried to automate that, they were able to almost save $58 million per year. So when I say they were able to save, I mean they were able to save the energy, they were able to save the resources, they were able to save the manpower, they were able to implement automation, they were able to have more control. So all these things are indirect benefits. So this is an witness where you can really understand the true potential of IoT when it gets implemented in a real time. And I hope Indian government has selected almost 100 plus cities for a smart city project. And even in Tamil Nadu, there is a huge work which is going on for drafting the policies for smart city implementation. There also the startups, IoT startups have started playing a greater role. See, if you want to know further detail, this is being taken care by TNEGA. Tamil Nadu E-Governance Agency. That's the agency. Probably you are all aware due to this pandemic period. This is the agency to which you will apply for your e-pass. So they are the one who take charge of the smart city implementations, and they are also focusing on areas like IoT, ML, blockchain, and so on. I interact with TNEGA for IoT and blockchain. So a lot of people are there. We all come together, we draft policies and we work on it. So this is one such initiative from government also. So let us all hope that by implementing these kind of technologies, we will be able to save money for our government, through which we will be able to benefit our layman or a lay end user. And other side, we will be able to save the resources also. Agriculture. I need not to say agriculture is a important backbone of any country, particularly country like India. So what are the places where we can think of using agriculture? So agriculture, you can see this is this typical agriculture picture was from Australia and New Zealand. So what they do is they have billions of cows. They have billions of cows. You know, Australia and New Zealand, they have the huge number of cows across the country, across the globe. Don't think that it is only India where we nurture the cows. No, Australia and New Zealand also, it is a very big business. It's a dairy business, is a very big business. So billions of cows are there, and we need to track them. How to track these cows? Because they will be let out free to in order to feed them. So to track them, so you can know the location. It will be in acres of land, acres, or sometimes it will be in hectares of land. So we need to track them. How can we track? We can use RFID tag, and by using this RFID tag, we will be able to at least physically locate where the cows are roaming around. So these are all the technologies which they have already started using. Other than that, if you see, smart farming concepts are picking up, and probably you can see it can be used for checking the soil quality, whether the quality of soil is. There are products which are readily available in the market to test this soil quality, water quality, and water usage. That's what we saw now. We can also think of using water usage. And you have a smart irrigation concept. And to be very precise, Israel is the country which is front runner in using IoT for their farming applications. So Israel, they already started using this concept of smart irrigation and smart farming. So they are the front runners in using this technology to its fullest efficiency. Not only there, even in India, the companies like TCS in collaboration with Indian Institute of Crop Management, Indian Institute of Crop Processing and Management, IICP. That is, IICP is located in Tanjavur. So what they do is they use drones to spray the fertilizers. Someone who have gone to Tanjore or near Tanjavur, you would have seen hectares of land will be there where they cultivate rice, right? The important crop which is cultivated in Tanjavur is rice. Colloquially, we call it as Tanjai Kalanjiyam, Arisi Kalanjiyam. So that is the place where we have a research center also. Rice research center is also available there in Adudurai near Tanjavur. There they use drones to spray fertilizers. Another important project is they use drones to monitor the plants. I mean, monitor the, not plants, how to say, monitor the field. So they monitor the field. What they do is they run the drones inside the crops. You would have seen the crops there. The crops will be of 5 feet to 6 feet height. What they do is they run the drones inside them, and they take photos of the crops, or they take the video image of the video, they capture the video of those crops, and by using algorithm, appropriate algorithm, what they try to do is they try to identify whether any crop is affected by any disease. They try to identify the plant diseases, because they say if they are able to detect the plant disease early, then they will be definitely able to reduce the damage. So they can immediately start doing the rescue operation, and which will end up in reducing the damage, which will end up in reducing their loss. So these are all the practical examples which are, I'm not talking about any future. These are all the examples which are already existing. If you are interested, you can also talk to Agricultural University in Coimbatore, agricultural colleges by government sector, and if you want to know, you can also refer IIT Kharagpur. You can refer Dr. Sudip Mishra. In his website, you will find he has developed water quality monitoring and water, at least water availability by using a sensor. Smart Sense. I think Smart Sense or Smart Agri. AgriSense. AgriSense is the project name. AgriSense. You can look at his website, or you can go to YouTube and you can type AgriSense. You will see those demos. They have they have manufactured their sensors, and they have dipped it in the ground, and through that they are, whenever they find that the soil becomes dry, they automatically the motor starts vending out the water. So, and there will be another sensor which will monitor if the water has reached the slope or the height of that particular field. If so, then the motor will be automatically stopped. All these things are automated. AgriSense, if I'm right, you can go and see. That project is there in YouTube as well as in the IIT Kharagpur website. Health is a very, very important aspect. As I said earlier, we saw about bracelets. We saw about smart wearables, smart watches, smart gadgets, smart, I mean the one which can monitor your heart, the one which can monitor your number of steps you have walked or number of steps you have run, and smart medical dispensers. See, these medical dispensers can also be used for elderly people or mentally retarded or mentally challenged people. What they do is they will automatically give you an alert at the time where you are supposed to take your medicine. So if there are, let's assume that elderly people are there, they are living alone, isolated in a house, then these kind of smart medicine dispensers, they, once you set the time to them, then they will give the alert message to the target audience or the target people, either through mobile, or they will also raise some alarm, so that it will be act as an indicator for the people to consume their medicine. So this can be used for elderly people, or it can also be, see, even the alert message can also go to the caretaker if they have not consumed the medicine on time. So immediately, for example, if someone comes to know that their parent or their mother or father has not taken up the medicine, immediately they can give them a call, they can intervene, and they can insist them to take up the medicine. So this is also very important for people who are affected with Alzheimer and so on. Supply chain, again, if you look at the supply chain, IoT play a very vital role in supply chain. You can see these are all the different places where, I mean, supply chain, when you talk about supply chain, it plays important role in logistics. Sorry. So they play important role in logistics. Let's assume that an apple is sent from Kashmir. The average time to reach, let's assume it is sent through a lorry. It is sent through a lorry. So let's assume that it is going to take some 7 days for us to reach Tamil Nadu. What we can do is we can constantly monitor where does the lorry stops, or whether driver takes more rest, or is the particular box is getting affected by natural calamity. All these things can be done by using sensors or RFID tags. We can ensure that the item was there under custody, or even you can have a webcam attached into the backside of a lorry, and you can also monitor the products over there by using by using internet. So these are all the different ways where we can also measure the supply chain. When I talk about supply chain, I remember one important fact. There is a saying that there are almost 60 billion liters, sorry, not 60, 6 billion liters of blood gets wasted every year in India. You can get me? Almost 6 billion liters of blood goes waste every time, every year in India. The basic reason is, you all know, probably you would have come across or you would have heard about blood banks. Blood banks are the places where these kind of blood packets are stored. If they if you even cut the current for a single second, then there is an calculation. They say that some amount of or some kind of blood cannot be reused. So if they stay without power for for a quite period of time, then we will not be able to reuse those blood packets. In that sense, the variation of climate alone makes us to lose huge amount of blood every year. So we can eradicate all these things by looking into, and not only losing the power, if they don't maintain the proper temperature of that storage medium, then there is a likely chance that those blood packets cannot be reused or cannot be used again. So to monitor that, we can check whether a particular temperature is maintained in that storage unit or not. So these are all the places where IoT can play a very big role in the way in which we use we construct our society in a better way. Amazon Go, again, you can go and look into a YouTube link. If possible, I'll show you at the last. Amazon Go is a humanless store. It is a humanless store where you can go inside, you can purchase item, you will be paying it through your mobile phone. Once you pay, then you will come out of the stores. That's all. Otherwise, there is another scheme. Even you need not to pay. You can also say that you will be paying it through credit card. So Amazon Go doesn't have any supervisor, or there will be no selling person or salesperson, or there will be no cashier. There will be no human involved in that Amazon Go store. You can look into the YouTube. You can type Amazon Go. It will show you a small video. If possible, I'll show you at the last. So you can go there and you can purchase item. So this is the level of leverage. This is possible only by using IoT and some other algorithms. I won't say only IoT. Some other algorithms also comes into picture when we do this. And these are all, again, logistics. With respect to logistics, these are all different dashboards which we can dynamically monitor. These are all not offline. They are dynamically monitored. So these are all the different places where you can think of using, or it is IoT is already in place. Factory automation, we call this method as a industrial IoT, IIoT. Factory automation is industrial IoT. Wherever checking any information is sensitive, we can think of using IoT. Let's imagine we need to check the condition of a very boiler which is used in the mechanical industry or used in the oil mining industry. Nowadays, it is only through manual intervention. They go in, they check the temperature and they come out. Instead, we can think of using sensors or any other equal devices. Likewise, we can also think of using this kind of sensors for monitoring the machines, different machines which operate in atomic power stations. You all know atomic power stations are very, very vulnerable. So human beings cannot be exposed to those kind of missions. When there is a case where human beings cannot be exposed, we can always rely on these kind of sensors and these kind of missions. Transportation, they say out of 100, 80% of the contribution comes from electronics. It's no more a mechanical industry, it's a electronic, or that's why they term it as a mechatronics. It's completely electronics. You know, the chassis of BMW and Benz cars are only done through software, and they have a software. They change the chassis alignment. They do the chassis alignment by using software. So a lot of things have come. You know, driverless cars, and the cars, almost a normal BMW car has 150 plus sensors in it. It has almost, maximum sensors. Other than that, you have a day-to-day object, smart bridge, smart fridge, which can order food. See, for example, we are not away from a day where your refrigerator will say what are the items available inside it. For example, it will say you have a egg, you have a tomato, you can make an omelette. For example, I'm saying. It can say you have peanuts, you have jam, you have bread, so you can make a toaster today morning and you can have it as a breakfast. So something. So refrigerators are not away from those days where they will also give you the recipes. What are the recipes you can make out of items available inside it? Not only that, soon they will also start ordering for the items which goes less in the storage. For example, let's assume the average number of eggs kept in the refrigerator is 10. Let's assume we have consumed 7 eggs, only 3 are there. Automatically the refrigerator can make it can place the order for purchase of 7 eggs. Don't think that I'm talking something magic. So these things are possible, and there are refrigerators which are capable of doing this. I'm not just saying it for the story's sake. And transparent smart window. So this is one more concept where we can make our windows to be more transparent. You all know there are certain gadgets, by using them we will be able to see through the windows, which will act as a smart window. And the cooker that shows you cook recipes and so on. These are all different IoT items which we can think of using it on day-to-day basis. What are the benefits of using this IoT? It enables us to have any doubts here? I know I have been just saying you only applications. Any doubts? Are you all there with me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, madam. Any doubts? Okay, I'll just talk about these benefits of IoT. It enables you to have an efficient resource utilization. It improves your security. We have seen how security is improved. Very ideal example is your connected home. Efficient resource utilization. We will come to know at what stage. For example, let's imagine I have fitted a sensor for understanding battery power of my car. So it will indicate me when does my battery is going to get drained. I need not to change it early, or I need not to change it after it got drained. So better resource utilization, improved security, connected home. We will be able to ensure whether the door is locked or not. We can see who is pressing the calling bell and so on. Minimizing the human effort. That's what we saw in comfort and convenience. It minimizes our human effort. Development of AI, here where the driverless car comes in, and robots which can perform surgeries. The monotonous surgeries are nowadays done through robots, and chatbots which act as a lawyers in US. So, and it finally saves our time. Whenever we do some automation, the prime aim of automation is to save the time. So these are all different benefits of IoT. The IoT features, we have to connect. So we have to connect an appropriate device. We have to analyze the data. Devices should be connected. We have to analyze the data and integrate different models to get a better experience. So these are all the different features which we need to look upon when we are talking about IoT. There comes IoT hardware. What are the different hardwares used in IoT? Sensors. Sensors are the one which we use to measure values. They send raw data and they consume low power and they consume very low power for processing. So I mean, types of sensors, there are two types of sensor, analog and digital. Hello.
Sir, one query from one faculty, sir.
Yeah.
What is the energy and how to calculate the energy in terms of IoT reference to IoT devices, sir?
So energy calculation for IoT devices, see that is a huge challenge. Energy with respect to IoT is a huge challenge. That is still an open challenge because most of the IoT devices are battery powered devices. So that's where just now I have started. You will come to know most of the devices are battery powered devices. That's why nowadays what they suggest is nowadays they come up with solar powered IoT devices, which could be used by generating energy from battery for their battery. So but that's again a very challenging area which IoT, it's an open problem in IoT.
Sir, how we can define that energy dissipation in terms of network, it is different. But if I consider IoT network,
are you talking about energy with respect to
consumption,
devices? No.
because-
That is what I answered you, right? So energy consumed by devices there. See, most of the devices, I have not yet started talking about devices. Most of the devices are battery powered devices. So for example, I'll take a typical example. Sir, we did a project for, we did a blueprint for a project with Ericsson. That Ericsson project was to monitor water quality of Krishna River in a village called Muri. So we finalized the sensors. We were very clear about what devices are. We used the pi boards. All those things were in place. But the problem what we faced was we were supposed to monitor. We were 1 minute. So sorry. So what the challenge was, how are we going to power those devices? So when I want my sensor to operate, sensor requires 24/7 monitoring. So here where there are a lot of logics there. To save the energy, what we can do is we have to find the optimal time for capturing the data. That is one answer. Second thing, as I said earlier, we can start relying on solar. Since we were monitoring the water quality, we tried using tidal power to, we tried to generate energy through water to supply energy to our devices. And these are all the challenges which we are still facing. I won't say that IoT was able to overcome all those challenges. It is still an open challenge. Hopefully, when we come across, see, this is an open challenge with respect to any kind of IoT product. Even we are talking about automated vehicles, driverless vehicles, there also we face the same problem. So it's still an open challenge. Probably.
How we can calculate, because when you're having a networks, the throughput will be calculated based on number of packets.
No. I have not gone into that area at all. When we talk about energy consumption with respect to networking, then it depends on the kind of protocol what we are going to use. So with respect to, with respect to network protocol, you have different layers in IoT. When you talk about network protocols, the so-called protocols what are available in the market are, to start with, Bluetooth was used, and if you look at the industries still use Zigbee.
Okay, Zigbee communications.
Zigbee communications are the one which they use. Other protocols which are commonly used are RPL.
Okay. How is there any ideas will be there to calculate energy in terms of mathematical?
No, you can calculate, sir. I'll say you the reality. What we do is, I'll show you some papers. We have published papers also. What we do is, when we try to see, we all did simulation. So by using RPL protocol, we simulated by using a simulator called Kuja.
Okay.
It is used to, we can use it by using Contiki OS, where when you set up a node, each and every node will have its energy that is defined in Joule.
How much energy, minimum energy you'll be defining
That
and
we
maximum energy?
cannot define, sir. That is default available in the node. You just imagine how we will be able to set up a node in a NS2 environment.
Okay.
Okay, so that is the problem. So here, when we talk about energy consumption, again we have to. It's a trial and error method, sir. So I'll be able to know only when, because sensors. The problem with the sensor is we are not the manufacturers of sensor, so we are going to use them. And again, when we talk about the battery powered devices, it all depends. That's why I say that's where these kind of areas are also correlating, sir. You would have heard about fog.
Are you covering related to tools and Koja simulator, how the nodes will be deployed?
No, I'm not covering them, but at the last I'll show you what are the software and hardware which are available in the market which you can explore.
Surely, sure. Thank you.
Okay, but if you want personally, you contact me. I can share you the details.
Research scholars are pursuing under PhD. They are looking for the tools.
Okay,
So
I'll show you, sir. Soon I'll show you the tools. Don't worry, sir.
Thank you.
So if you want further detail how to do, see, we tried even changing the configuration in RPL protocol, but we were not able to do. We were not able to go beyond certain limit because RPL.
We are not implementing IoT. We are implementing IoT lab in social IoT. I think you're aware about social IoT.
Yeah, social IoT is sir, you can use Zigbee is there, RPL is there, 6LoWPAN is used.
Zigbee and RPL, DODAG
and,
also directed.
Yeah, DODAG concepts comes under RPL. That is what we call it as a RPL. Okay, DODAG concepts only.
Social IoT. So social IoT, we are thinking it. So which are the tools?
No, social IoT, you need not to use separate devices. We have done some projects in social IoT. What we did was we made use of this concept called context aware IoT. That is, for example, I'll say a very simple example. Let's imagine that today we are conducting a conference in our college seminar hall. The people, whoever comes to that GPS location, they should be given a privilege to download the material. I'm saying a very simple use case. When they come to that location, by coordinating the GPS location, I should make my server to understand that these are all the people who have a privilege to download certain material from the web. So automatically their proxy should be removed and they should be given the access rights to download the material. This we can try. This we can try by using social IoT. Very simple example. Higher examples are there. I can also share some details about social IoT. We did one project where, you can also make it more context aware. Context aware will be very good if you try to coordinate with social IoT. Other aspect of social IoT, how can you make a networking scenario by using IoT? For example, let's imagine a vehicle communication. Vehicle to vehicle communication in a particular location, we can all form as a group, and those groups can share among themselves like this way is blocked, so don't come in this way. So these kind of things can also be initiated by using social IoT. And there is another concept which is also there in the literature. They have not come up as an idea. ThingsBook. You can also refer this. ThingsBook. Like Facebook, they also have a concept called ThingsBook, where they say things can also come together. They can form a network. They can share things, or they can share idea among themselves. You can personally contact me, sir. I can help you whatever we have done.
Surely, sir. Surely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. So these are all some other common sensors. See, one of my colleague Kabilan is also waiting, so I'll try to complete as quick as possible. He is waiting to show you some kind of demos. Not a complete demo, at least the recorded video what we did for some projects. So this sensors, I'm not going deep. From the name itself, you can understand camera, analog, pressure, ultrasonic. Ultrasonic is the one which nowadays people use to keep up the social distance. It can alert if you are coming close. This is what I was talking about, sir. IoT gateway. There are different gateways. The protocols used are 6LoWPAN, RPL, CoAP, and MQTT. These are all used in web layers. 6LoWPAN and RPL are used in network layer. The 6LoWPAN alone is used in data link layer also. It is used in both the layers. HTTP and XMPP. And nowadays, I think probably people who are into IoT, you can refer this LoRa. LoRa architecture, long range WAN architecture. Lot of companies now they have customized and they have come up with LoRa. LoRa is a Spanish based company. They only came up with this long range transmission. They are the one who are supporting Bengaluru for setting up smart city. So LoRa WAN is available. You can refer the web. A lot of items are available in that. So as I said earlier, Wi-Fi is one form of connectivity. Bluetooth is still, Zigbee is used. Thread is another new concept, not a new concept. It's a 3-year-old concept. Thread is also commonly used where they try to specifically connect only IoT devices. And cloud plays a very important role. You all know whenever we collect the data, we have to deposit them. We deposit them by using these kind of clouds. And fog and edge computing is a new upcoming, not upcoming, again it have got matured. Fog is the term which is used by Cisco. Edge is the term which is used by Intel. So the basic difference is here we are not going to chunk the data completely to the cloud. Before the cloud, there will be a local server. That local server is known as either fog or edge. What we do is we may retain the sensitive information in the fog or edge itself, or sometimes the user may not be willing to share their private data to the cloud. Those scenarios we can store the data in the fog. Not only storing, we can also perform analytics in the fog level. So this fog and edge is a upcoming area. So this, in one way, it is complementing or supplementing the cloud computing. Some of the important tasks, let's imagine a simple scenario of healthcare. In healthcare, let's imagine a patient is lying in ICU. If there is a very sensitive data, let's imagine his threshold is 100 temperature. In case if his temperature rises to 101 degree, then we cannot wait until this data go to the cloud. From the cloud, it will go to the doctor, and from the doctor, he will be calling up the attender over there, or he will be calling up the medical emergency people, and it may take more time. So instead, what we can do is we can say if the threshold is above the normal level, then this data will be processed in the edge or fog. So immediately from the edge, you all know it is a local server. It immediately gets connected to the doctor, and doctor will be able to take remedial action. So these are all the places where you can think of using edge and fog, and there are different protocols which are coming up with reference to fog and edge. Time limit, I'm not going into it. Now they are working on separate protocols which could enhance the operations of fog and edge. These are all the open source hardware, as Sir was asking. Small programmable device, easily connectable. You can see there are range of devices available. Arduino boards, you all would have come across this Arduino board. They are very cheap. So they are the one which made IoT possible today, because this is what I termed it as a open source hardware. So they are very simple to use. They are microcontroller. You know microcontroller and microprocessor. Microcontroller is meant for a specific operation. Microcontroller, specific operation. Microprocessor, general operation. It is a CPU kind of thing. So that you have to keep in mind. Arduino with Ethernet, Raspberry Pi boards. Pi boards are example of microprocessor. So you can even run Linux by using Raspberry Pi. If you connect a display to this will act like a mini computer. So these are all the Raspberry Pi and Arduino board. I'm not explaining the details. See, these are all the differences. So it is a single board microcontroller, and this is a single board computer. Arduino, different types of Arduino are Arduino Uno, Arduino Mega, LilyPad, Bluetooth, and so on. Raspberry Pi 1A+, 2B, WH, 3B+, and so on. The sensors, these are all the different sensors. And these are all the devices which are again compatible towards sensor. You can see there not only Arduino and Raspberry Pi, you have other items, chip kit, launch pad. You have particle from ARM. See, this particle from ARM is compatible with Wi-Fi. It is already Wi-Fi integrated. STM, this is again 128 KB RAM and 48 megahertz. Espruino is again, it is capable of handling JavaScript code. This board is capable of handling JavaScript code. Intel Galileo board. You would have heard about Intel Galileo boards. So they are commonly used. So they don't have a display, but they are all fitted with analog sensors. Intel Edison is the board which you can look at. So they are basically a phone used for IoT. It can perform all the operations what a normal phone can perform. It has a Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, 1 GB RAM, and so on. Raspberry Pi, you all know. And these are all BeagleBone, Udo, Parallella is again, you can see here, FPGA unit is part of this. You can use Parallella for that. And prototyping, so you was asking about prototyping. You can see the common prototyping tools available are Arduino Sketch program. Vilodrin is also an interactive kind of programming environment. Earlier, before a year or so, it was open source. Now I'm not sure. You can check it out. What you will do is you will be able to import the devices, electronic devices, through a software. For example, if you want to introduce a capacitor, you can drag a capacitor. It will act as a capacitor. If you have a sensor, you can drag a sensor, it will act as a sensor here. The professional programming, Eclipse is the environment which you can use. Vim is again another professional programming tool which you can use. And Mbed Online is specifically meant for this kind of IoT sensor-oriented devices. And you have Intel XTK. XTK, again, it is not only meant for IoT, but it can also be used very well for IoT kind of applications. Other than that, you have Xively. Xively is an important application where you can integrate all your IoT applications. So it is a web interface where you can use to collect your data. Collect data. It is a web interface. You can use collect data. Azure, you can incorporate machine learning and data analytics in a cloud for predictive analytics. By using Azure, you can merge IoT, ML, and data analytics. All these three can be merged. You all know Microsoft Azure. NetSim is a proprietary software. Again, it is a good software. I have used it once. So you can also think of it as it is being launched by Bangalore-based company. I have the tutorial. If anybody wants, I can share it with you. So it is also a good tool for implementing IoT projects. You have CupCarbon. CupCarbon is Java-based. You can also use CupCarbon for implementing your wireless sensor simulator. SimpleSoft is another one where you can try out all these protocols: CoAP, MQTT, HTTP. And ANSYS is it's not an IoT, but they produce things. It will give you an environment where you can model things. That is the beauty of this ANSYS. Contigo OS, I said about Kuja simulator. You can install, you can use, you can set up the nodes. It will be more like NS2. You can set up the node, you can run. You need not to, you have to write a very minimal coding. You'll be able to run the node. It will give you an option of the nodes will be available in the form of modes and sensors. Okay, so you can there will be different type of modes. You can deploy the mode, you can run it, you can calculate the value, and you can infer data out of it. Octave is another one which is similar to MATLAB. It also has the capability to work with IoT servers. It can process signal, and it will be more like, I think Octave is also very well used in ML oriented applications. This is an IoT server, specific IoT server. As I stated earlier, AWS IoT tutorial with Linkit1. This is again, you can always look into this. AWS has this Linkit1 support where you can directly deposit the data into AWS IoT service. Watson of Things is the one which is launched by IBM. I need not to say, they also support IoT oriented applications. So you can also use Watson for, I have given the links in the slides itself. You can go and look into them. And finally, you have Google OS. Brillo OS is still in the beta level. When it comes, Google has claimed that it will be a dedicated OS for IoT applications. Apart from that, these are all the further softwares which you can always go and prefer. Raspbian, Riot, operating system, mesh networks. What are the different mesh networks? And finally, to quote, the most profound technologies are those that disappear. They weave themselves into the fabric of everyday life until they are indistinguishable from it. So the point is, technology should not be an overburden or should not be a headache to you. It should immerse into your life. Then that's the technology which we call it as a successful one. The learning path, these are all the different learning path you can take. These are all the land space. Already these are all the places where IoT is used. I have given different platforms, different application verticals. These are all some IoT startups, notable IoT startups. Hug Innovation, it is a Bangalore-based company. Covasix Technology, again a Bangalore-based company. Carsense is a Pune-based company. So these are all some startups which have got notable. You can also always, personally, I would recommend you to go and check Hug Innovations. They play drum even without a physical drum. So it was very nice. I have seen their demos. You can also go and look into their demos. Challenges. As I was insisting from the beginning, energy efficiency is a still open challenge. Connectivity is a great challenge, because when you are claiming yourself as an IoT user, you are actually the integrator. You are not mere user, you are an integrator. So challenges, security and privacy still play bigger role. And these are all my this is summary. Conclusion. And I'll stop here. Now I request my colleague, Mr. K. Kabilan, to take up the session. Once he completes, he'll be completing by 3:30. I'll be open to take your queries. Thank you.